Why haven't they executed a search warrant inside?
Police have virtually nothing.
He looked harmless to me.
Much of the assault was videotaped.
Every detail is monstrous.
I just want to see my little brother again.
He was abducted for a purpose.
He did the exact same thing to me, only he didn't tell me.
What happened behind closed doors had their neighbors living in terror and earned them their nickname.
Dubbed the Ken and Barbie Killers because of their extreme good looks.
17-year-old Karla Homolka and 23-year-old Paul Bernardo met at a restaurant, and it wasn't long before Paul was controlling every aspect of her life.
She was a naive, simple, innocent, helpless child.
Paul had behavioral and violent sexual impulses that worsened as the relationship continued.
Later, Homolka would tell her psychiatrist Bernardo was already tightening his grip and that he'd begun hitting her.
Soon, Karla would come to learn his dark secrets.
Don't worry, honey. There's a girl in the basement, and go back to sleep.
Paul was the Scarborough rapist, a notorious criminal who had been terrorizing girls at night and leaving investigators scrambling to find his identity.
The nature of the beatings, what the victims had endured, clearly told us that we're dealing with a sexually sadistic offender.
Instead of running, Karla began to participate. And next on Paul's obsessive mind was her younger sister, Tammy.
She assaulted her sister. It was absolutely mind-boggling.
Karla offered Tammy as a Christmas gift to him. She drugged her with sleeping pills and they attacked her while she was unconscious, but it did not go as planned.
Homolka didn't lift a finger to save her sister from Bernardo.
Tammy began to vomit and choke. The couple called 911 and cleaned the scene as Tammy died.
At the time, the couple's lies convinced police Tammy's death was an accident, but it would return to haunt Karla.
They would continue to kidnap girls together, assaulting and torturing them, and Paul's violent urges only accelerated.
It must have been very hard for her to digest the reality of the situation she was involved with.
He relied on Karla to lure the girls in.
You send a young, innocent woman to ask any question, your guard is down, it takes 2 seconds to throw someone in a car.
And she would record their disgusting acts on camera while they drank and listened to loud music. These twisted crimes did not kill their romance. In fact, they were married the next year.
Their fairy tale wedding is complete with a horse-drawn carriage.
At face value, it was a beautiful wedding, but if you talk to the friends and the relatives, everybody knew that it was just a big charade.
That very same day, the remains of 14-year-old Leslie Hamafi were found.
That's just an irony that would keep me up most nights thinking about that.
Paul had kidnapped her.
Paul would have come by in his car, offered her a drive home, and then her life just fell into hell.
He brought her back to their home where she was blindfolded, assaulted, and strangled to death.
It was gruesome. Who could kill a young teenage girl?
Karla helped him discard the body.
Her dismembered body parts were found encased in concrete.
The following year, the couple did it again.
15-year-old Kristen French was abducted in broad daylight from a church parking lot.
They kept her for 7 days and forced her to drink excessive amounts of alcohol and watch recordings of their previous attacks, all before discarding the body for police to later discover.
Kristen had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled.
Her body was found on this Burlington side road.
Due to DNA testing backlog and the lack of witnesses, these crimes went unsolved.
There's been no arrest.
Any idea how long it might be?
Nothing to say at this time.
It wasn't until months later, after severe injuries from Paul's abuse, Karla was hospitalized and convinced to press charges.
She describes her role as both victimizer and victim.
If I didn't say the right thing, he'd hit me. He held knives to my throat. He told me I better watch my back. He said, always watch your back with me.
Paul was arrested for domestic abuse, and when they took his DNA, they were shocked.
Us all looking at each other in the detective office and thinking, what?
Paul was then, with his DNA, identified as the Scarborough rapist.
The fact is that science could have caught this guy way before he was caught.
Police contact Karla to discuss the DNA results of the Scarborough rapist case.
In exchange for extensive intel on Paul's crimes, Karla Homolka entered a plea deal.
I'm cooperating with the police fully. They're being very nice to me and treating me like the victim I am.
This would reduce her sentence to only 12 years behind bars.
She's considered a model prisoner and, according to her psychiatric reports, poses no danger to the public.
Paul Bernardo, who scored 35 out of 40 on the psychopath checklist, was given life in prison.
One of our country's most notorious killers, Paul Bernardo. He has just been denied parole again.
Today, Karla lives freely with her second husband and their 3 young children, even volunteering at the local school, despite her community's concerns.
Can I talk to you for a second?
No, you can't. How would you feel knowing that your child is interacting with a person who's a serial killer? It's not right.
Do you think justice was served to Karla? Was she complacent? Or was she truly just another one of Paul's victims? Tune in next week to hear about a woman who killed her children because she was convinced they were zombies. Thank you so much for watching. Swipe up to subscribe and hit that notification bell.